Hello? 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 Can I ask you something? Where am I? And who are you? Excuse me. Who is that? Okay. Can I ask you something else? Where is it? What cruel fate has torn it now to make now broke of both purse and emotional baggage? Now I wait. I'm sure I saw it, like smoke rising ravaged from dying cinders. The taste and scent of it lingers, and then it disappears like winter's cold beach sand, slipping from my hand between my fingers. This emptiness has left me in a darkness empty, and my best medicine, namely poetry, has and is now consistently failing. Like those in the moment moonlight promises that drown and then evaporate in the sea of daylight's reality. I know. Someday I will die. And they will say, he dried up like the mist in a misty eye that's finishing reminiscing on what's missing from the days of come what may. The victim of some bad decisions. It seems he made at least one each and every day. And so I want there to be something left. After my life is extinguished, after the last time my name is spoken with any kind of grateful exhaled breath. But alas now I see the rocky bottom. The purpose of this search is almost forgotten, and this isolation and detachment, at first oh so sweet, has now, like the fruit on the dying vine, turned rotten beneath my feet. My mind is slipping, losing grip and drifting in and out of view. The memories are fading and the darkness is gripping, and I'm losing all clue, losing all clue, losing all clue. But I know that sometimes in the performance of this life show, you've got to take a stand and say, no. Stop. Rewind and go. And yet, I have never seen division like this. I have never known division like this. I have never felt division like this. No, I've never seen division like this. Like those fly-by-night insights that incite riots on the otherwise quiet streets of suburban minds. illuminated by digitized, electrified signs of newly gentrified times that disavow an allowance to seek truth amongst the old growth vines. And then we've got those global echo chambers employing a poisoned vocabulary, riddled with generalized discourse destroyers, born of a hashtag narrative reality, the antithesis of an environment conducive to self-analysis, nor finding compatibility. Those warriors morph into inquisitors, wielding cancellation munitions and weaponized sensitivity. This age of outrage keeps respectful, positive communication locked up in a cage. They want communication only for validation, resisting the temptation for any kind of education. Because they're going from woke to morally broke in single strokes, painting by numbers the circling vultures of cancel culture, the professionally offended, trying to change history by smashing a sculpture. And they seem to forget that just because you're offended, it doesn't mean that you're right. Just because you're struggling, it doesn't mean your science is tight. Just because you're limited, it doesn't mean you really understand the law. And just because you're angry, it doesn't mean you really know the score. And so they've all been playing the blame game through their pain, staying with the shame that you inject. Playing the blame game through your pain, staying with the shame that you infect. Playing the blame game through your pain, staying with the shame that you inject. Playing the blame game through your pain, staying with the shame that you infect. Playing the blame game through your pain, staying with the shame that you inject. Playing the blame game through your pain, staying with the shame that you infect. Playing the blame game through your pain, staying with the shame that you infect. Playing the blame game through your pain, staying with the shame that you infect. Playing the blame game through your pain, staying with the shame that you inject. Playing the blame game through your pain, staying with the shame that you infect. I'm sorry. Forgive me. That was a little bit of a rant. And we've only just met. You want to take a seat? It's nice you supply refreshments. So, that was a messed up time, right? People kind of freaking out. Isolation, detachment, digging in. It was a time of hiding. A time of finding and fighting over facts. A time of division. And still, during those long, long months of Sundays, a year bleeding into one day, the reflections of the sun's rays as the edges of connection began to fray. And in those days, I'd go outside just to look around at the sunset city. And from a distance, everything looked just a little prettier, and we'd wave to each other across the rooftops. And this could have been the closest we'd ever been. And I can't see your shattered dreams. No, I can't see your shattered dreams. But I can see the broken scenes and what's now left lying in between. See, in trying times we're inclined to regress and inviting. Coping mechanisms like comfort food never leaving. No, they're never leaving, but they are always leaving a mess. And I see the sand shift on the changing tides. The Ides of March are now revived, and it's time to replace our sense of entitlement with some steps towards social enlightenment. You see, it's the rocks at the bottom of that deep barrel that bring the shock of the forgotten demons you still need to battle. And those demons that you thought already defeated, now they return too, huh? To scream your secrets, and they're like old enemies revisiting. Regrets I've neglected to respect, or are these just the sick tricks of my mind? Are these just the sick tricks of my mind? Remembering that freedom feeling that you once had. Because it's okay if you've been feeling bad or sad, or like you're slowly going fucking mad. And it's okay to be craving human touch. And it's okay to say that this is not enough. And it's okay to be demotivated. And it's okay if you've been feeling like you stagnated. And it's okay if you've been feeling frustrated. And it's okay to be a little creatively deflated. And as we say goodbye to that time, we say, goodbye. Suffocation, accusations of annihilation across every single nation, illegal association and self-righteous indignation, but time proved it was all just self-flagellation. And I've got hope, but not much optimism. Tomorrow's vision will be through a new type of prism, a new schism risen from uncertainty. And so I ask myself, who are you going to be when you are finally set free? back to, I was 14, going to the local disco. And at that time, it was a strange time in the area that we lived in. We had a lot of gang problems at that time, and strangely, the local disco was a place where they always wanted to come and have their beef. I remember that last disco, the very last one they had, because it ended up in a riot. Rocks through windows and fights on the dance floor, and eventually it shut down, everyone kicked outside. And I was standing there with, who was it? Rob, Matt, maybe a couple of others, watching this fight go on between gang members. But there was a circle over there around him, some guy on the ground, and he kept getting hit and, by people around him. And I can remember some people that were definitely like around my age, 13, 14 years old, running into the circle and like just giving him a hit or a kick and then running out again. That was pretty bad. I thought that was not cool. I didn't have a word for it, like crazy, violent mob mentality, but that's what I was witnessing. This guy got the shit beaten out of him. Anyway, I guess we eventually found a payphone and called our parents to come and pick us up. Got on with the weekend and that was it. And then I can remember going to school on the Monday morning, and someone had heard that that boy had died of his injuries on Saturday night. And not knowing how I felt. Feeling something but not having a word for it. I mean, I didn't know the guy, but I did have the realization that at 13 years old, I'd witnessed someone getting beaten to death. Years later, I probably had a stronger word for that when Mum passed away. When I did finally and fully get the complete weight of the concept of grief. That grief that never really leaves you. That grief that you grow around and with and becomes a part of you. And that grief that makes you ask yourself about yourself. Who are you? And at that time I was asking many questions, like having mastered the art of making bad decisions, of constructing self-made prisons in the shape of social panopticism, left bereft by the theft of purpose that perhaps never even existed. An imposter syndrome again resurfaced as the isolation persisted. And by a loss of hope was driven home. A new type of fear of the new type of unknown, of uncertainty. Every ghost month that passed brings more shades of grey to these rose-coloured glasses now, lacking in urgency. With a heart of lead, not dead, but heavy. Emotions levied by the embankments of deflection. Constructed in a flood of legally mandated disconnection and structured in a defense of any kind of introspection. You see, on the good days, anything is possible. Bliss as comfortable as an old pair of running shoes that know the soles of my feet more intimately than I do. And in the space between an in-breath and an out-breath of God, we dance to the sounds of the sun, where all our friends are beautiful, and we on the bad days, I don't want to be awake. Nanonaps become emotional energy entropy traps with tree-like movement, passion saps as purpose dies. Like the slow suicide of cigarettes, focused on a sizzle reel of selected regrets. But it's time to face this demotivation, this stagnant staycation in the self-doubt hotel, stuck deep down in a rut like in Murakami's well, and so, even if only with baby steps, as leaps of faith begin to be leapt, back to the world my heart has crept, now knowing that my purpose is to connect. And so I sing. I sing for all those who have lost their way. I sing for those who have lost their belief. I sing for our connected purpose. And I sing for our collective grief. I will fight for those who never had a voice. I will fight for those who were never given a choice. I will fight for those for whom respect was left on the shelf. In the end, you know, it's easier than fighting for myself. Easier than fighting for myself. For myself. And then I rediscovered my purpose. Ecstatic R1 when I embraced in the power of our connection. And then I discovered my purpose when, in a studio in Tokyo, I met R again. It was in a studio in Tokyo that I met Art again. And it was like meeting a long lost friend for the first time again and again and again and again. Because with art, every time is inspired, just like that first time. And art, she touched my heart in ways unexpectedly. And now she lingers there in perpetuity, dancing and singing and butterfly winging me, painfully pleasant. And she told me about her favorite films and of the music that makes her lose it and how she decided to choose it, this artist's life. And I could see Emily superimposed over anime, neon glowing pieces of me in blurred blue lines, lost in translation, whispered goodbye times that clear up any confusion. As Art sits smiling next to me, sharing in my sake. And then I felt the bioelectric pulse then spark as Art led me by the hand through the after dark lit streets of Shinjuku's golden dye. And suddenly, Art was everywhere. Her scent on my clothes and in my hair, on canvas and paper, in ancient quotes, on wood and food and on lampposts and endless on izakaya walls. Art spoke silently through humanity's worldview, and through Art's eyes I saw a more beautiful version of myself and of all of you. And by then, I could already see, because by then, Art was all over me, whispering in my ear and snatching glances of my periphery, that butterfly fluttering lightness of endless possibility, of senses tensing in the tightness, of senses tensing in the tightness, of senses tensing in the tightness, tensing in the tightness of anticipated glee. Yeah, I felt Art that night, and Art she felt me. Art stares to and through me, and I imagine her fighting with her past, and joy emerging from moments that were previously sparse as she dances ecstatic improvisation on the grass stage of Minami Ikebukuro Park. And I want to make me see through her eyes, to filter my senses from her size, to be with those who know, who believe that Art lives in the heart and she is worn on the sleeve. That Art lives in the heart and she is worn on the sleeve. And even though I left Art standing on that platform in Shinjuku, our meeting reminded me of the most real of real truths. That she has always been here with me, waiting patiently to be set free from behind the walls of a locked heart, and now etched permanently in a tattoo on my arm, in a tattoo on my arm, in a tattoo on my arm, in a tattoo I think I know. It's not about the avoidance. It's not about the running. It's about accepting and making friends with the pain and the suffering. It's the lessons that come and that will come and show themselves to be the powerful stepping stones. Because the art of thriving survival is a story that never ends. As a lived life is full of incessant, ever-present twists and bends and passing trends and dark and light that court you. Rising just to fall, like running on a ball of water. You see, a cotton-wooled existence, it'll never forge the right resistance to what this world will throw at you when you pursue a life lived right and true. Yeah, I remember the lessons decreed to me so eloquently by a skin knee when I was aged just 3. Those lessons are not forgotten so easily. And while I didn't grow up in a crime scene, yeah, I've seen crime normalised time after time after time until our eyes have got no more surprises left in them. That Black Mirror oracle, the source now bringing ritualized, rhythmic, fly-by prophecies, mass suggestion on a species level. Yeah, we have homogenized the devil to be the epitome of some social media witch hunt scene. Wrapped in lies, disguised as the one true global morality. So tell me, will you get a fright when that white light gets shining? It's blinding but inviting, and you're hoping it's the right timing, and you're not left with regret pining for just one more chance at a silver lining. Just one more chance at a silver lining. But those pearly gate tower bells, yeah, they won't welcome you with their ringing until you allow yourself to start winning by giving yourself permission. Permission to be strong. You see, permission to be strong is permission to be wrong, to fail, to fall and impale on pride made turgid by hubris inserted under false evidence entrails of self-doubt. Because you will never win that bout with that internal voice that shouts down your thoughts of choice. Doing a pitch-perfect impression of you second-guessing yourself. Permission to be strong. It's permission to listen, to pause. And on another's opinion feed without a greed for the need to be heard, nor understood, nor believed. Permission to be strong is permission for us all to get along, to give a perspective free to view objectively the difference between the weakness of victimhood and the strength of vulnerability, between the mistakes that break you and those that make you, take you stepping towards your greatest earned rewards, between a quirk or a blemish and your uniqueness that is so cherished. Between arrogance that's fear-fed and self-love that's wholly accepted. Because I know, and I know that you know, that upon reflection and with some focused introspection, and even without an ayahuasca session, you can still fairly reckon that it's the rejections, like those little imperfections that make these lessons so pressing, so there's no more second guessing about which demon you need to be wrestling with. So pick up that laser-sharpened soul shiv and cut your ego down to size. Stop believing all his lies. Take back the permission to be strong that always hides when you forget that it's the rejections. Like those beautiful, beautiful, beautiful imperfections that get right down to the crux of just how many fucks you should be giving about the opinions of some mob-minded minions. You see, folks, they seem to be stressing. Deaf, dumb, and blind to the blessings that lessons that failure and rejection can be gifting when an open mind takes the time to dine on listening. When an open mind takes the time to dine on listening. You see, there's a wide, wild ride waiting just over there for you. When you take one step nearer to making friends with fear, then you can fill your sails with the winds of fails and wins. You can know that the dark times, the panic attacks like Tony Stark times, stupid decisions for a lifetimes, the unfortunate run-in with a narc times, and even just kicking the football in the park times are the moments writing the real lines of a life lived bigger than a byline. A life lived bigger than a byline. So please, remember, even if your life is in tatters, remember that those tatters are never all that matters. Because you've always got a choice. And you've always got a voice. And the next breath and the next baby step to pursue the passion of your choice, to strut in the fashion of your choice, to sing karaoke in your own unique kind of voice. So dance like everyone is feeling your beat. And let those dancing feet feel the heat come from the summer streets. Run, trip, skip, fall and find your feet. Let your heart beat out those sweet, sweet grooves. Let the world see your funky, funky moves. Run, shout, yell, sing or scream as you navigate the potential eventful unseen on the boulevard, on the boulevard, on the boulevard of your woken dream.